strap in for another week full of economic data and retail earnings. Retailers like Lennar and KB Homes are reporting throughout the week, and there's no shortage of economic data on watch. We'll get building and housing data, retail sales numbers, and a host of manufacturing indices. Stay tuned to get a sneak peek at the week ahead. We're starting the week with some economic data bright and early on Monday morning. The Empire State Manufacturing Index, which tracks business activity in New York, is set to be released at 8:30 a.m. This metric came in at negative 15.6 for the month of May, marking its sixth straight monthly drop and coming in below the estimated negative 10. Let's see if we get any change in direction for the June print. At 11:30 a.m., we'll get the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions. At 12 p.m., we'll get the NOPA crush report, which tracks soybean production in the USA, followed by comments from Fed's Harker at 1 p.m. Keep an eye on any and all Fed speak this week, coming off of the June FOMC meeting last Wednesday. Some events to keep an eye out for today, including the Jefferies Consumer Conference, which is scheduled for June 17th and 18th. Beverage companies Dutch Bros and Celsius are both slated to attend on Monday. If you're following any energy or solar names, watch out for the JP Morgan Energy, Power, and Renewables Conference, whose attendees include SolarEdge and EOG Resources. A couple of retail earnings reports coming through after the bell, namely Lennar and La-Z-Boy. Lennar exceeded profit expectations for Q1 2024, with home deliveries jumping 23% year over year. While the company guided new orders on the low end of expectations, its Q2 home deliveries forecast of 19,000 to 19.5 thousand beat the estimate 18,889. Lennar, which missed revenue estimates for the previous quarter, is expected to post revenue of $8.54 billion for fiscal Q2. Some pre-market economic data to get things started on Tuesday, including the retail sales prints for May. This metric was unchanged on a monthly basis in April compared to an estimated increase of 0.4%, a sign of potential slowdown in consumer spending. Well, 7 out of 13 retail sales categories made monthly declines, including a 1.2% drop for non-store retailers. Categories like clothing and gasoline stations saw notable gains. So this print could be an interesting one. Another slew of economic data coming through at 9:15, including the monthly and yearly changes in industrial and manufacturing production for the month of May. Also on the docket for 9:15 is capacity utilization for May, which came in at 78.4% last month. Even more numbers at 10 a.m., when we'll get the month-over-month change in business inventories and retail inventories ex-auto for April. Both of these metrics dropped slightly over the month of March, by 0.1% and 0.2% respectively, so we'll have to see if these declines continue. At 1 p.m., we'll get the 20-year bond auction, followed by comments from Fed Goolsbee at 2 p.m. Keep an eye out for day 2 of the Jefferies Consumer Conference. Walmart is expected to attend on Tuesday. There are quite a few annual shareholder meetings scheduled for Tuesday as well, including MasterCard, Workday, and Trip.com. After the bell, we'll get earnings from KB Home, which reported its 4th straight quarter of EPS and revenue beats for Q4 2023. The company's net orders grew by 176% on a year-over-year basis, with the value of these orders increasing by 157%. KB Home's revenue for the previous quarter dropped 13.7% year-over-year despite the beat, with analysts expecting $1.62 billion in revenue for Q1 2024. This could be an interesting metric to watch. Still more economic data to get through after the close. We'll get the net long-term TIC flows and overall net capital flows for April, along with the foreign bond investment number at 4 p.m. Then at 4:30, we'll get the API crude oil stock change. The markets are closed on Wednesday for Juneteenth National Independence Day. Have a safe and restful holiday. Quite a few interesting earnings reports on the docket before the bell on Thursday, including Aurora Cannabis. The retail favorite recorded its highest ever adjusted EBITDA in its previous quarter, with the metric reaching $4.3 million for fiscal Q2 2024. Aurora Cannabis, which currently has an expected post-earnings move of 11.8%, is expected to report revenue of $51.28 million. This stock could get interesting. With a market cap of $185 billion, IT company Accenture is another earnings name to keep on watch for Thursday morning. The stock gapped down after its last report, with the company beating EPS estimates but missing on revenue and lowering its 2024 revenue guidance. Analysts are looking for Accenture to report $16.57 billion in revenue for fiscal Q3 2024. Other companies scheduled to report before the open include Jabil, Darden Restaurants, Commercial Metals, and Winnebago. Watch out for the Coca-Cola Company around 8 a.m. James Quincy, CEO and Chairman, is expected to appear at the Redbird Atlantic and Rothschild's Consumer Conference. 8:30 a.m. brings another host of economic data prints. We'll get the preliminary building permits number and housing starts for May, along with initial and continuing jobless claims. Philly Fed data is also coming through at 8:30, including the manufacturing index, CapEx index, business conditions, employment, new orders, and prices paid, all for the month of June. Some auctions on watch later in the day: the 4-week, 8-week, and 17-week bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. and the 5-year TIPS auction at 1 p.m. At 12 p.m., we'll get the 15-year and 30-year mortgage rates. Right at that closing bell, 4 p.m., we'll get comments from VetsBarkin. Friday kicks off with an earnings report from CarMax, which announced during its last report that it's pushed back its goal to sell more than 2 million units per year by 2026. The company's sales and net income both fell on a year-over-year basis, with earnings per share coming in at 32 cents compared to the estimated 49 cents and last year's print of 44 cents. Analysts are looking for CarMax to post Q1 2024 revenue at $7.29 billion. Some more economic data on Friday to close out what has been a pretty action-packed week on that front. At 9:45 a.m., we'll get the S&P Global Composite, Manufacturing, and Services Flash PMI for June. Last month's Services PMI came in at 54.8, the strongest print for the metric in a year. While the Manufacturing PMI for May came in at 51.3, an increase from the previous month's print. Watch out at 10 a.m. for existing home sales data for May, which dropped by 1.9% last month to reach 4.14 million. Also expected at 10 a.m. is the CB leading index on a month-over-month basis for May. Our last economic print of the week is the Baker Hughes oil rig count, scheduled to be released at 1 p.m. And that's the week ahead. Tune in with us at 8:30 a.m. from Monday to Friday at tradertv.live.